How did you first get into flat Earth? How did you first start looking into it?
Yeah, well, actually, I was just since 2003. I was looking into the vaccine business because my son, he's now 13. He got very ill from the vaccination. He had a how do you call it? Brain.
Like
injury.
Yep, sure.
So that's how I got, onto the internet at 2003, and I was reading about a lot and figuring things out.
How long have you been in the airline industry?
Actually, I got my license in '91. So I've been with the company that I'm at now, which is actually the best in Holland. There are not so many, but they're a very good company, and I'm with them for 22 years now.
Just to recap here real quick. So you got into conspiracies because your son got a vaccination and suffered some brain injury because of it.
Yeah.
And then started going down conspiracies, saw a couple things that had to do with flat Earth and gyroscopes, and thought, this is sort of interesting.
Yeah.
So did you start poking around inside your company? Did you were there
that's what I did.
Friends of yours?
Yeah, so I was just, because there are lots of things that we are taught about the spinning Earth, and I told to my colleagues, because of course you think about it, but then you just discard it, about how it is possible that the atmosphere spins with the globe, and then of course, that might be gravity, and then it says, then you have to, it has to spin faster at a higher altitude, because there's no gradual difference.
Right.
So I thought, that's kind of strange, and also the speed at which the Earth should spin around the equator. I thought, that's almost the speed of sound, so that's kind of strange. And then also when you fly, let's say from Johannesburg to Amsterdam, we don't have to account for the difference, and also not because it spins then at a different rate, and it doesn't also, we don't also have to account for the difference in altitude that it spins. So
yeah.
I thought, this is so strange. And now, actually, I told the other day to a stewardess, because she has an open mind, and now I have to work on the ground. I said, actually, I'm a little bit ashamed of, believing all this shit, and I should have, questioned before, because my IQ isn't actually good enough to, question how does a gyroscope work, actually, because it does not, measure the gravity.
Everybody in the flat Earth community has had to relearn a lot of scientific premises just so we could catch up and then tear it down. And gyroscopes is one of them. Actually, gyroscopes helped us a whole bunch. I didn't know how gyroscopes. I mean, we've seen, of course, and we we spin things around and we kind of get the feel for them. But how they relate to the Earth spinning, most people don't know. So anyway, sorry, continue, please. So you were looking into the gyroscopes, and then what?
Yeah, and then of course I also saw the movies from Eric Dubé about rising horizon.
Yep.
And I thought, that's true. And we do fly at 40,000 feet, 41,000 feet sometimes. And of course, I've been. This is now almost a year going on that I was, that I started looking for the curve, let's say.
Yeah.
And of course, I couldn't find it, and I saw the horizon, rising with us, and it was flat wherever I looked, and I thought, shit, why did I, didn't see this before? And then I started questioning in the cockpit, do you know that the atmosphere spins at the same speed as the speed of sound at the equator? And then I get this strange look on their faces, whenever I would ask something like that. But it bothered me so much that I thought, well, this has to, go
Sure.
out there, and I thought, well, you can just discuss these things, but obviously not. We were with the three of us in the cockpit, and the captain, he was in training, and the instructor was on the jump seat, and we had a night stop in Zurich, and the last day that we actually flew from Zurich to Amsterdam, they said, well, did you actually mean those things that you said about flat Earth and everything? I said, yes, I do. And they say, well, we think you are retarded. And
they didn't actually say that, did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and you are, how do you call that? Labiel. I don't know what that is in English, actually. But it's like you are mentally unstable.
Oh, no, that's
like
pretty,
that.
yeah. So you're kind of, so who said this to you?
That actually said the instructor said that to me. He said,
really?
well, actually, yeah, because I did not go out to dinner with them because I could already, sense that there was no match between the three of us.
Right.
So I did not go out with dinner with them at the night stop. And he said, well, we had a discussion between the two of us about you. And we think you are, retarded, but then the Dutch word for that, and mentally unstable. So I said, well, if you think like that, and we only had like 20 minutes left or so,
Mm-hmm.
I suggest that you come sit in my seat, because I knew he was, an instructor, and he could sit in both seats, because you're. As an instructor, you need to be able to, sit in both seats.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, you better sit here, because I'm not going to fly any longer with you guys.
So what happened? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So they landed, and I sit in the jump seat. And I said, well, guys, we really get a lot of training with our company
Mm-hmm.
about how to communicate amongst each other, because lots of errors happen when the communication in the cockpit is not working out.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a lot of training about that. I said, well, guys, all the things that we discussed yesterday, because I don't know how the topic came up, but we discussed about those trainings, about the things we shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
You both did, like we call that OMA. The O is for oordelen, that is to judge.
Uh-huh.
The M is for mening, that's opinion, to have an opinion. And A is for aanname, and that means to assume.
Uh-huh.
So I said, well, those things you both did without even questioning me. You just,
Their natural reaction was to think it's like, you get, flat Earth is ridiculous, so we're going to judge you right here and right now.
Yeah. So I did not even have, you did not even ask me one question. Like, I mean, I was educated the way you were. I mean, but you could have asked me, well, Lydia, how do you come to such a strange viewpoint or whatever? You could have asked me some question instead of just throwing me out.
Mm-hmm.
And the instructor said, well, I'm sorry about that. And actually he got tears in his eyes, so I was a little moved by that, because I thought, well, yeah, okay, I came on quite strong, actually, because, well, I was mad, of course, and he also was relieved, because I said, well, when I stepped out of my seat, I said, well, I will see you in the office, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because I assume, because we have to write about these things, if things like this happen, I thought, well, he's an instructor, he's going to write about this. So I thought, well...
And when you mean write about it, you mean our term would be like filing a report.
file a report.
So
Yeah,
at this point you're thinking of filing a report against your co-pilots, your fellow pilots for.
Well, he thought I was going to do that because that's what I said when I stepped out of my seat earlier. I said, well, I think I'm going to see you then in the office.
Yeah.
Because I assumed, because he's the instructor, that he would, he was the one who was, trashing me. So I thought, well, he will probably write about it. So after the landing, I said, well, or he asked, he was scared. He said, are you going to write about it? I said, well, no, I'm not going to write about it, but I'm going to go straight to the doctor's office from the company, and I'm going to ask for some support in this. So he was really relieved. Well, I'm not going to write about it either. I said, well, do whatever you please. So
both of you mutually agreed not to file a report on each other about an argument that had to do with flat Earth. Probably a good thing at the time.
Yeah.
So then you went to the company physician, the company doctor, and you have more or less did you request to them? You said, look, I don't think I should fly anymore because I don't believe the Earth is a globe.
Well, actually, I called in sick.
Okay.
And I made an appointment, and then I went to the doctor because I thought, well, I have all the evidence there is. So he said he didn't even, because I started to explain to him how I got to the point of thinking flat Earth, because it needs a little bit of an introduction, I guess.
Oh yeah, you can't just come out and say it. It'd be like,
no.
You mean like metaphorically, or what are we talking about here? So his response was,
okay, Lydia, I'm going to send you to the psychiatrist.
Yep, I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I will hold your medical license, and you cannot fly for now. So
technically, are you still working for the company?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been? You haven't been suspended without pay or anything like that?
No. That's not the thing they would.
But did you request that you didn't want to fly anymore, or did they say you shouldn't fly anymore? And I mean, obviously, you're not flying at the moment.
No, I said I cannot fly at this moment because I'm tired of all the lying.
Okay.
And I'm just exhausted, and I'm, I feel humiliated and everything, and I think we should look into this. I mean,
and when was this? When was
it? We're all in this, but they just don't. They're not open-minded.
Oh,
people.
Hey, look, pilots it's a tough. I mean, I've talked to a handful of pilots already, but this is got to be one of my favorite stories because, well, and sorry, I got to back up a little bit. When did this happen?
This happened in March.
Okay, this happened in March. And after that, did you see a psychiatrist? The company psychiatrist?
Yeah, I had to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And?
They made me. So I went. I had to go 2 times.
Okay.
And the first time, the psychiatrist explained that I had a right, a recht van aanhouden, and that means that you don't, you get the last say in whether the report goes to your company or not.
Oh, I got it. You get the closing remarks. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can send I can read the report, and if I'm not,
happy with it.
Yeah, happy with it. Then I can say, well, no, don't send it.
Oh, really? That's way more flexible than what we have over here. Seriously, a psychiatrist could literally put you in a jacket and lock you in a room, and you wouldn't have much of an opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, so go ahead.
So I sat there, and I wanted to, explain a little bit how I came where I am, and he was not interested. He said, well, no, I don't want to hear all those things. I just want you, because, with my son and everything, it's kind of a long story, but, I wanted to explain to him how I got where I am, and he just was not interested. He said, well, Lydia, you are being a little bit naive in, trying to convince this guy.
Even well, not not.
Why aren't men a little bit more courageous? I think I'm always more courageous than everybody I meet. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand. Maybe I'm not that, I mean, I just moved to a real nice house and everything, and I thought, well, I might have to say goodbye to this within a year because I don't know what's going to happen.
Sure.
But okay, I'm fine with that. I mean, who cares?
You are a brave person, Lydia. There's a lot of people that wouldn't have. But at the same time, you're in a unique position because pilots, they deal with that perspective all the time. Mm-hmm. Most pilots don't know what to do with the information even when they get it because of their conditioning. So yeah, when you're in the cockpit at 40,000 feet, you see a flat horizon and you see it every single day you fly. But there's this weird conflict that happens. It's like, well, it's a globe because I'm told it's a globe, but I only see flat. So you know what? I'm just going to land the plane and try to live my life as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So you went to the psychiatrist a couple times. Did you like the report he wrote, or did you not?
Well, the second time that I went, he said, "Well, Lydia, you don't even have to start talking because I'm not interested. I think you know where this is going." Mm-hmm. I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Well, I will. I think it's called delusional or something like that in English. We have another name for that in Dutch." Mm-hmm. So I said, "Well, okay." I said, "You didn't even have a glance at anything I'm here for," and nope. He said, "Well, no, I am aware of conspiracy theories," he said. And he said that chuckling, so he was laughing. And I thought, okay, well, whatever. So I was actually pissed. And I went home. And while I was in the train, because it was a train ride of about 2 hours, I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna even wait for the report because what's going to be in there? Nothing that I need to know.
Right.
So I emailed him right away when I got home. I said, "Well, dear Mr. Huppeldepup, I don't need your report. Don't even bother writing it because I'm gonna, You're
gonna veto it, basically. So then what? So you go back to work? So at that point?
No, because they have my medical license, on hold or whatever.
So technically you're on medical, we call it medical leave. So you're currently, at that time you were on the ground, not getting up in a plane again because they said there's a medical issue.
Yeah, correct. Okay. That's still the case. And now I'm working on the ground because they say, well, okay, you cannot go into the cockpit. I think you can do some other work. You should not. Can you just cut that one out because I don't want the company name.
Got it. I will not say your company name. I'll cut that little part out.
Yeah.
So they grounded you, but they didn't want to fire you.
Yeah, that's not the way they go about. They just don't fire you like that. I mean. So
you haven't flown since March.
Correct.
Do you have any anticipation that you will be flying?
I don't think so.
Now, is that a voluntary thing? Have you been pushing it, or are you happy with your desk job and you're like, I'll just take the desk job for now?
Well, I found a job where I can meet all kinds of people, but colleagues, and they asked me, why are you not flying? So now I have an opportunity to say, well, I have different beliefs than most people, So actually, I'm figuring things out, and actually, I want to wear T-shirts, with flowers on it, and just to go to my ground job and spread the word. Just spread the word.
You are one of the bravest people I have ever met. I mean that. That's amazing. So now, because you're grounded, you're now doing the ground jobs in the airline industry. People ask you, because once they figure out who you are, it's like, wait, why aren't you flying? You tell them? Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not flying because of, and you probably describe what's happened to you over the last 6 months.
Well, I've just started 4 weeks ago. So So, and I only have to come in 2 times a week because I work 50%, so I don't have to go there very often.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to meet my colleagues there, and get to know them. But I just started. So the last time I was there, I said that I believe that, and then the moon landings were fake. And actually, there are 2 other pilots also, which have some issue why they have to work on the ground because there's something medical.
Mm-hmm.
And they laughed at me.
Oh, I can imagine they would laugh at you.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to ask you some pointed questions here. Like, one, if all of a sudden they came back and they were desperate, they needed a pilot, would you jump back in, or is this something it's like, yeah, you know what, it doesn't really mean much to me anymore?
No, it actually didn't mean a lot to me anymore already for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And that had to do with also the fact that I'm a woman in a man's world, and
got it.
Yeah, sometimes you just think, well, I'm really open-minded. I mean, that's why I got into this in the first place. But also, when you are working with people who are totally not, there is hardly any connection,
right?
And I miss that. So I actually have more fun with the stewardesses when we are somewhere
nice.
than with my colleagues in the cockpit. So
nice.
Yeah, so I don't really miss it. The other day it was really windy. I thought, well, now I miss it because, then you can practice your skills a little bit and do some real flying, and that's the part that I miss. But the whole life around it, I don't miss. No.
So I wait a minute. So do pilots secretly like bad weather, or is this just you? Because wind scares the hell out of people. Just so you know.
I know.
But you thought it was fine because
when it's not too bad. Yeah.
Because
we do like that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
What part? The landing on a windy runway type thing?
Yeah.
Oh
correct.
my god.
Yeah.
because it's a challenge. You were just bored. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Normal landings are so boring that pilots just kind of hope for something, like an icy runway. Hey, is there some ice on the wings?
No ice. No.
No, not ice, but wind.
That's so tricky. The wind is okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but you wouldn't deliberately try to fly through some dark clouds or anything.
No, it's not like that. It's not like courageous in that way. No, that's not the way to go. No. We're very careful. I'm a very careful person. My children always say, "Well, Mom, you drive like a snail. Come on, hit the gas."
I can see that. So when you see like a 20-mile-an-hour crosswind coming in on the runway, you're like, "Ooh, yeah, buckle up. This is going to be fun."
20 is nice. Yeah,
yeah,
even anything.
I'm sorry. I did a lot of business travel, so now that I know this is good. This is good stuff. Here, so you've been in Flat Earth now for what? Less than a year officially?
Yeah, less than a year.
Less than a year.
November. Yeah.
And you've watched a whole ton of videos and read a whole bunch of web pages. Yeah. Is there and you probably talk, I mean, it doesn't sound obviously like you're shy about talking about this with people. For you as a pilot, or in this case a grounded pilot, what was but you flew for a lot of years. What was the biggest thing for you? Because everybody, I could talk to 20 different flat Earth community members, and they'd all have a different answer to this, which is, what is the one thing that flipped in your head where you were, half asleep on the couch? It's like, holy smokes, that's it. Was
the gyroscopes. It's just the gyroscopes, because I thought, well, it cannot work on a globe. No,
can't. Because
and also the speed of sound at the equator. Those two things that.
So the spinning of the Earth, the atmosphere going along with basically the Coriolis effect. You're not adjusting the flight path for the Coriolis effect, and you guys are going from north to south a lot. Yeah. And in fact, you were saying you were flying to Johannesburg from the Netherlands?
Well, before I flew the 737, I flew the MD-11. Mm-hmm. So then we went to Kenya, not to Johannesburg. That was just an example that I gave you, but I've never been there.
But Kenya's fine. That'll work.
Yeah.
So somewhere in the middle of Africa, you guys are flying from the Netherlands, and not only did you not have to, because that's a question. In fact, I might as well ask you this, since we have a hard time asking pilots. There's a whole bunch of videos out there where people are trying to ask pilots when you know how the gyroscope works, and you know how the curvature of the Earth works. So from a pilot standpoint, do you ever see any instruments, or do you have to set anything in the cockpit that constantly adjusts for the 8 inches per mile squared? Or every 50 miles you would have to adjust about 1,700 feet?
No, nothing.
Never. No.
No, never. The only thing is that I was thinking about, but I also saw that I cannot find it anymore. That's really a pity. But we have this inertial reference system, and it has like really advanced gyros, the laser ring gyros, and it has accelerometers on it, and you can, when something goes wrong with that system, you can reset it, and you can have the heading back.
Yeah.
And but then again, I saw this this video on YouTube that a guy asked the company, I think it was Honeywell or something, about resetting and putting the right coordinates in. And this guy said, well, it doesn't really matter. Don't put anything.
Yeah. In fact, I know that one because that was a 777 pilot. I read that one. That was me.
Okay.
Where the 777 pilot.
Okay, so I saw it with you. Yeah.
Yeah. He messaged me and he said the gyroscope compensator that's below the gyroscope is made by a particular company, and this company supplies everybody, and it's a NASA subcontractor. And he went to an airport and it broke, because pieces break every once in a while, and it broke, and they asked for a replacement before he could take off, and they said, you know what, just compensate for it manually. And just because he knew about flat Earth, he decided to ignore that and just make note of it. And when he was flying, and it basically took a 6-hour trip, and he never had to. And he took notes of what the degree should be, but he never compensated for it. And so then he was going, okay, what does this thing actually do? If I didn't have to, I just flew 6 hours and it wasn't even working. And when he tried to, the thing that got me was when he called the company. They, pilots, as you may know, are considered very, very wonderful people in the airline industry. So they can go to airline companies. They could walk into Boeing, and Boeing is like, let's give you the tour. They wouldn't even talk to this guy. They were like, it was like very, very close-lipped about what these gyroscope compensators would even do. And so, and this is a 777 guy that really wanted to. He's still flying. But he's going, I don't know what's going on out there, but there are companies involved that they may not know exactly what's happening, but they're up to no good. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask you a couple of other quick questions, and then you can ask whatever you want. Which is just for the record, when you were looking out through the cockpit, did you, before you got into flat Earth, did you even think about the curve, or was it just one of those things that was in the back of your head? And then when you found out about flat Earth, did you look out the window differently?
Actually, I never thought about the curve. Never. Maybe that's strange, but I really
no.
didn't.
Why would you, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Now I think it's strange, but
but then when you got into it, when you were looking out the window, did it look completely different to you? It was like, holy smokes.
Yeah. Then I saw how flat it was.
Couldn't see. We have a saying here. I don't know if it's the same over there, which is you couldn't see the forest for the trees. You just could not. It was like, didn't even occur to you. You looked out that window all the time for 20-something years.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you think it's flat out there? You see it's flat? It is flat.